and on and on and on.
So wind the clock on again, because Hinkley B behind me could be generating electricity until at least 2016. The electricity you're using to watch this programme on your television or computer could well have come from behind me, because steam turns turbines that generate enough electricity for 1 million homes. And politicians are now talking about the next nuclear generation.
Well, this is the land that's been bought by EDF. And there's going to be two new
Others are less enthusiastic. Overlooking the land bought by EDF, Green Party member and campaigner David Taylor is clear why, when it comes to Hinkley, the planning bill is bad news.
The main objection is that it's taken people's right to be involved in the decision away from them. At the moment, under the current inquiry system, people can present witnesses, they can cross-examine government so-called experts. All of that's going to be taken away.
Well, let's talk about all that. Here with me in the studio is the Green Party campaigner who we saw in the film, that's David Taylor, and joining us from our studio. OK, well, David Taylor here in the studio, that sounds reasonable. What's the problem with that?
Well, I think people often argue that democracy is too expensive, that it takes too long, but what price democracy? You know, if once you strip out a really important part of local democracy, there's not going to be any putting it back again.
Come on, you were on the original Hinkley inquiry, weren't you? You'd have strung that out for as long as you possibly could.
No, the whole point there is to ensure
Well, you stood
in
front of a car, didn't you, for example?
Yes, that's nothing to do with the inquiry.
Oh, right.
I did take part in actions, that's separate.
Right.
No, the main point is that local people have an opportunity to cross-examine the so-called experts, to present their own witnesses, that the people who are going to be directly affected by these decisions have a role in those decisions.
But do you accept that it's been abused by some campaigners who use every trick in the book, and of course, why not, to try and string these things along?
Well, it's easy enough to make inquiries a little shorter. You know, the government ministers could take a shorter period of time to actually come to their conclusions. But there is no argument for taking out the whole element of local democracy. Public inquiries are a vital forum and a way in which local people can express their views and put forward technical expert advice which is going to be helpful.
OK, David.
We do need to debate these new technologies. These are untested technologies. The EPR that's proposed for Hinkley is untested. It hasn't been used anywhere in the world. And the so-called consultation is a sham. It's an opportunity for people to simply write in and put their opinions. It's not the kind of full democracy that we have at the moment.
Interestingly, the last Hinkley inquiry, you lost the appeal, but you sort of won the public argument, didn't you? And it's that, I suppose, which matters in the end.
Because some of the arguments won through. And that's the key thing to understand, that when you have a public airing of things, when the debate is transparent, which it won't be under these new proposals, then there is an opportunity for things to move forward and for more people to be involved in the decisions.
You say that, of course, but of course by arguing and succeeding in stopping Hinkley being built, our carbon footprint is greater now than it would have been.
Well, that's got nothing to do with that. That's because the government has not got engaged in developing renewables and energy conservation. And really, that's the priority now. It's not these high-tech solutions. It's getting engaged in real energy conservation, energy-efficient projects.
OK, David Rossiter, anything